The 4 R's of nutrient stewardship are really important to help growers improve profitability and also minimize their impact on the environment. There's a 5th R that we might also want to think about, and that's using the right data. One of the things that makes up proper soil sampling is that we recommend taking 1 soil sample for every 5 acres. So you have the adequate intensity. But this doesn't mean if you're grid sampling, you take 1 grid point sample in that 5 acres. And that's because we can miss a lot of variability that would occur in the soil test values over that distance. And that means we may then miss low testing values, whether low K tests, or even more often what I tend to see is low pH values. So if you're doing grid sampling, we typically suggest a 1 to 2 acre grid sample, and also sampling frequently enough such that soil samples are taken every 4 years. So taking the time to soil sample and get things tested is really going to help improve your profitability. Now, another component to getting the right data with your soil testing is to use a qualified lab. In Wisconsin, we need to use DATCAP, that's the Department of Ag, Trade and Consumer Protection, certified soil testing labs. It's always important when you're looking at determining how much nutrients to apply to use information and data collected from your state or your region. Make sure it's locally important. It's also important to think about all of our nutrient sources on the farm and really getting all the information about them. So that's your rotations, and do you have legumes in the rotation, especially forage legumes? And then manure nutrients, are they going on the field? Getting a good manure sample and getting that tested to help you determine the amount of nutrients is really important. Take all of your credits you can, and that's going to help improve your profitability. Now, another aspect of data that feeds into your 4R program is when we think about yield, because often yield is a component of how we set our P&K application rates. And these expected yield levels need to be realistic, okay? You need to be looking at what you've actually done on your farm, not what you think you might want to achieve in a few years, but looking at past history. Some guys use yield because they've got Waywagon data, and others might have yield monitor data, but it's important to make sure that you've got these tools calibrated. Yield monitor should typically be calibrated at the beginning of the harvest season and maybe once or twice during the season. In some ways, you can think about that 5th R being perhaps the 1st R, because it's the information you need to use in order to make any of your other 4R decisions.